Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from gorgeous Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
Coming up on today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about, well, I guess Islam in
Islam.
context of world religions and kind of who's peaceful,
Yeah.
who's violent.
Yeah. Can we lay the blame for violence at the foot of the Muslim religion?
Or of any religion, for
Or
that
of
matter.
all religion?
Or perhaps, can we not?
Or can
lay
we
that
not?
blame?
What-
Yeah.
What's fair in this discussion? It's a question.
No, it totally is. And so we're going to be getting into that. We're also
I think we'll have the definitive answer by the end.
hopefully.
I don't think we will.
But we're also going to be talking about our trip. But we did want to just at the top of the show just get something out there about Houston.
Yes, Houston, we have a not problem. We wasn't sure where to go with that. No, Houston, we have a meetup.
Mm-hmm.
We are in talks with the Houston. Oh, what? Now I need to know
Oh, Dan.
what the name of the organization is. Hang on, I'll find it.
First, you thought it was Austin.
Well, okay, no.
Now you don't know the name of the
That was an honest
organization.
mistake. I made an honest mistake. I reached out to some people in Austin who still haven't gotten back to me,
Ooh.
and then I got an email back, and I confused, and the email that I got was from these awesome people in Houston, and I thought it was the Austin people, and blah 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 blah.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So
Makes sense.
It took me a minute to realize who I was actually communicating with,
Mm-hmm.
but it's Houston Atheists.
Awesome.
Which is apparently a very large organization,
Wow.
as a matter of fact.
Cool. All right.
But we're going to be having a thing. I guess we can announce where it is and stuff. It's official, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be at the Fox and Hound pub
Okay.
in Houston
Okay.
on at 6:00 on what night are we going to be there?
Well, I don't have my calendar.
Oh shoot.
Open.
The 16th of May.
Okay, the 16th of May.
16th of May, 6:00, Fox and Hound. All you Houstonites and those who live thereabouts,
Please.
come meet us.
Yeah.
Come crush a cup of wine.
Yes, please. Sounds good.
Well, it's a pub, so a cup of ale
Or whatever.
or whatever.
Lemonade.
Mead.
If you're on that wagon,
Sure.
please come have some lemonade with us.
Yeah. Join us. Anyway, and then the other thing we wanted to mention is that Houston did an awesome job. They got to us. They are organizing this thing because we don't really know what's going on in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
We need you guys to help us out with the rest of this damn thing.
Yeah.
We need help.
It will basically what it is if you'd like to meet up with us, we're open to that. In fact, that's why we're coming.
Right.
But we don't know who you are.
Right.
And so the point is, it doesn't have to be a big thing like Houston. It can be, we're driving. You see that we're driving along whatever that runs right next to your town.
Yeah,
Hey,
let's just
we
say
can
that
stop and have lunch.
Right. Let's just
We
say
can
that
get a
you
coffee,
you
we
go
can get
to
a drink
thank God
that
I'm
night. Who knows?
You go to thankgodimatheist.com.
Yeah.
You see our little itinerary.
Yeah.
Which is subject to change a little bit, but
Right.
but not much.
Right.
And you see, hey, they're driving into New Orleans on such and such a date. What about this?
Right.
If you're from Montgomery, Alabama, we need people in Montgomery
hell yeah.
to say hello.
Yeah.
We did have somebody write in and tell us, well, you can't expect Alabamans to do anything because apparently you're all
Why
lazy.
is that? Really?
Apparently they're all lazy.
No,
you're not.
No.
Get on the
come
ball, people. Write
Come
to
on.
us.
You guys set some buses on fire back in the 60s, so I know you're capable of
You can
getting
do
something together.
You can do it.
Or was that Mississippi?
Shh.
I don't know.
Oh, Frank.
crap.
Oh.
I watched Freedom Riders, but I don't remember where it happened.
Let's just say it happened in all the places. It happened in all the places.
It probably wasn't even either two of those states.
No, that was in Georgia.
It was in Georgia?
I have no idea. I did not watch that movie.
I did. It was really good.
I believe you.
But I was also forced to watch it.
Anyway, so we're also going to be in Tennessee. We're going to be in Arkansas. We need we just want you all.
We would love to go see the Passion Play in Eureka Springs with someone.
Yeah, you guys should come with us
together because we're definitely going.
That's true.
That is one thing. Do you have the
We're going to be there the 23rd of May. It looks like.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So yeah, I mean, if you want to come with us to the Eureka Springs Passion Play, I would love to go in force.
Oh yeah, get a bunch of atheists together for that.
Honestly, if you're from anywhere in Eastern Oklahoma, you need
Missouri,
to come. If you're from
Kansas,
anywhere in that
Arkansas, of course,
in that whole area,
come on, people.
Plan a road trip. We'll all go together.
Yeah,
it'll be hilarious. I guarantee you, we will have an awesome time.
It will be hilarious.
We will have an awesome time.
Yeah,
we'll tailgate in the parking lot. I don't know.
Maybe
you're hesitant on the pre-gaming.
You should probably just show up. That's my thought. Just show up.
We'll all be wearing our "Thank God I'm Atheist" T-shirts or whatever, which, by the way, are coming.
Yeah,
everyone.
I know.
They're ordered. So if you want one, you'll have to either meet up with us and because we'll have them on the trip, or we'll find a way to make it orderable.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but that'll happen after the trip.
Indeed,
the orderability
of it.
Yeah. All well. Let's do. I've got a story.
Yeah.
I've got 3 stories.
Oh, I love a good story.
And I think I want to start with this one.
Okay. Don't point at it. Tell us about it.
Well, I had to point at it to make it show up on my iPad.
Oh, that's
I had
true.
To touch it. In fact, it was very nice. All right. So this. Are you familiar with the asylum process in the United States?
Like declaring that you want asylum?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's say you're from a country that is war-torn. And you are part of, well, you fear for your safety, and you can show that if you return to your country, it could be war, it could be famine. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons to come to the United States and declare
that you need asylum. Okay.
And the United States immigration has a process that you go through. They don't immediately send you back if you're asking for asylum. There's this whole thing. I watched a film on it years ago. Anyways, but typically it has to do with like poverty. Well, I guess it's poverty, war, and
like
famine,
or threat to your own personal
safety.
Threat
to your own personal safety. You could be like a religious minority, let's say,
right, or Salman Rushdie or something,
or exactly right. There's again lots of good reasons,
right? Well,
there's a family that's currently living in, I think it was Virginia. I think is where they said they were. It's Ewa and Hannelore Romica.
I know those guys.
They're from Germany, and they have an asylum case that is going before federal judges, or actually, I guess it just did. Yeah, it just happened. They're asking for asylum based on the fact that their native Germany does not allow them to homeschool their children.
Get out of our country. Shut up.
And it is getting U.S. Christians all up in arms. Because, of course, this is a fundamental right that Christians feel like they have to give their children bad educations.
I get to decide that Did you see the thing that was going around? Sorry, slight tangent, but there's a thing going around the interwebs. I couldn't track down where specifically it was from. But it turns out it's legit, and that is it's a picture of a quiz that was apparently in a public school. That was like a 4th grade history quiz.
Okay.
About the dinosaurs.
Okay.
And it was just Christian propaganda.
Oh no!
It was literally like the questions were: is the Earth billions of years old? Correct answer: no. Are humans were humans alive millions of years ago? Correct answer: no. And it was, and then like, did humans live at the same time as dinosaurs? Correct answer: yes.
Yeah.
What?
Well, it was probably being taught in the creationism section of their science class,
right?
And so because isn't that the thing that they've tried to argue to get creationism in, because there's
a section, yeah. Yeah, there
And
was
so
a
it's
question about
oh.
do dinosaurs having sharp teeth necessarily mean that they
Well,
were
it
meat
wasn't-
eaters? No.
Creationism. It was intelligent design
You're
that
right.
they were trying to get in.
Right.
But it's the same thing.
Which is creationism.
Yeah. Just by a different name.
They just like to call it something else.
Well, anyways, so of course Germany has religious freedom.
Right.
Right. But Ewa, and I guess that's the guy. This is a quote. In Germany, there's basically free, religious freedom, but it ends at least with teaching the children. Because what happens is the German system requires children to be, well educated,
Right.
and taught sciences,
Right.
and
Darwinism
and all that kind of crap, right? That horrible crap.
Mhm.
And so they just do not want their kids to be subject to such horrible education, right? That you would get in Germany. I mean, of course it's bad. It's just awful, filled with all that German ness. I don't know. I would have loved to have had a German education.
I know, right?
But anyways, so Glenn Beck has pledged $50,000 to support the family, and he warned that it is a case. That the case is a bellwether for religious liberty. This is his quote: "When America says you don't have the fundamental right to raise your children up to the Lord as you see fit, you are no longer Americans."
Well, yeah.
But these people, the question is, do they have an immigration claim? Not whether or not
Right.
a Christian parent who has
they
a
claim
right to
asylum?
be in this country,
Right.
can they raise their children up the way they want to and give them a bad education at home? Great. Yeah, you can, that right, that's not in dispute.
Right.
But is it grounds for asylum?
Yeah.
That's the question. Is it up there with famine and war?
Is your personal safety really threatened right now?
No.
No.
But I guess in Germany, I mean, and it's absolutely against the law. Like, people that attempt it, and there's plenty of people who do attempt to homeschool their children. There's constant fines. There's potentially even jail time.
Oh, wow.
For holding your kids out of the school system.
That's
so,
interesting.
good for them.
Well, I don't know if that's good. It does strike me as a little bit odd.
Why?
I don't know, because
Compulsory education?
yeah. I don't know.
We have compulsory education. It's just we have an opt-out.
Right. I'm saying compulsory education without that opt-out feels a little odd to me. But, I mean, Germans are well educated. I'm all for education. I'm pro-education. I'm just, I guess there is that.
Sounding like you're not, Dan.
There is that American streak in me that's just like, you know what? You should have the right not to do it. To homeschool your kid. You shouldn't have the right not to educate your kids. There are certain things that kids need to know. But, I don't know. I think you should have the right to be an ignorant asshole if you want to.
I don't think so. I think that brings down the whole society.
Of
and
course
we're
it
seeing
does.
that happen.
Of course it does. I'm a rights guy, though. I don't know. I'm not a libertarian.
I have the right to you being educated. To living in a society where you got an education. And I don't have to deal with your stupid bullshit. That's what I have a right to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, there you go. Speaking of countries without rights, I'm gonna move on.
Oh no!
I'm gonna move on to
Who?
Bangladesh. Bangladesh.
I can only imagine. Okay. All right.
This story. One of my comments, I sort of posted a thing about this on my personal Facebook page, not on our Facebook page, because I wanted to save it for the show.
Oh yay!
but yeah, I eventually after some discussion about the content of this story, I came up with the phrase Bangladesh.
Oh yeah,
because there's a bit of douchebaggery going on.
Oh no, Dan.
And by a bit, I mean hundreds of thousands of people.
Okay.
Protesting.
Protesting what?
Well, I guess protesting is maybe the wrong word. Calling for the death of atheist bloggers.
That was Bangladesh? I heard about this.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Okay. Oh, no. I did hear about this. Okay.
Yeah, they're literally hundreds of thousands out in force of men and boys, No women.
No women.
Because
Are they not allowed to protest?
I don't know, it would imply that somehow they get a voice in something.
Is it? It's frowned upon.
Yeah. Apparently, so they came out in force in 100+ degree heat.
That's reason enough to stay home, people.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn on the AC and let the atheist blog.
Right. Well, and Vice.com, which is where I found part of this story, had an interesting point, which is that in a country of 160 million people, there are only about 6 million internet users.
Oh, really?
Which would indicate that maybe a few of these protesters hadn't even read any of this. Or rather, most of them probably haven't read any of
Well, the math works out, Dan. There was plenty of internet connections that 100,000 people could be up in arms.
You're right. You're right. Although it's probably not the case. I mean, the truth of the matter is that we know full well that people are more than willing to just take somebody else's word for it. If some leader says, there are atheist bloggers. Apparently, there are 84 bloggers who they demand to be arrested or hanged. 84.
Really?
Yeah. There were... Now, I've got another article. I'm going to tie this in with another article. This one's from the Huffington Post.
Legitimately? 84?
Yeah. They got a list. They got a list. These marchers.
Are there 84 atheist bloggers in this country? I mean...
There's so many atheist bloggers in this country. Including us, Frank.
We don't blog.
Not enough.
But,
I used to blog a lot more. If you look at the history of Thank God I'm Atheist.
But guess what? Nobody cares about what you did. They care about what you're doing, Dan.
Well, that's good. That means I won't be arrested or hanged.
Well, don't go to Bangladesh.
I'm not going to now. They're assholes over there.
Well, anyways.
Anyway, so yeah, it's I mean, this is one of the countries where Islam is the state religion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it's not just a lot of Muslims there. It's the state religion.
Mm-hmm.
In a different article on HuffPo, it's actually originally from I shouldn't even say HuffPo. I kind of hate when I get something from a news aggregator and it's from another source. It's from the RNS, the Religion News Service.
Oh, okay.
And they were talking about a different thing, which is basically that there was a consortium of non-believers which is planning rallies outside the Bangladeshi embassies, not in Bangladesh, but outside of Bangladeshi embassies and consulates to demand the release of several bloggers who have been arrested for blasphemy.
Wow.
Apparently, these rallies are in support of 4 Bangladeshi men who were arrested earlier this month for, quote, hurting religious sentiments. Meaning, you hurt my feelings when you said what you said. And I'm guessing if they're from Bangladesh, what they said was so fucking mild.
Who knows? Maybe it wasn't.
Maybe.
Dan, you don't know what they said.
That's true. You never know.
It could have been really incendiary.
I don't read Bangladeshi blogs often. Not often enough. I really should venture more into the Bangladeshi blogosphere.
Do you have Google Translate? Hello?
I know. I should.
You could read it.
I just said I should. I don't know. Do they even? What language is Bangladeshi a language?
I don't have a clue.
I don't know either,
Dan.
Anyway, yeah. So there's a bunch of organized protests, not in Bangladesh but outside of Bangladesh, calling for Bangladesh to release these bloggers.
Mm.
But that seems. When you consider the fact that hundreds of thousands of people from within the country are calling for the death of these people, having, 250 people outside of the Canadian Bangladesh consulate seems a little weaker.
Well, I mean, you said it's an Islam. It's officially Islam is the official language, or
yes, it is the
official religion.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to get to what we're talking about later, but I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because like what these people have done basically is it's not that they're atheist. They're denying Allah specifically.
Yeah.
And they probably at some point were Muslim, right?
Yeah. But the thing is that just not being
denied
Muslim.
it, that's punishable by death. I mean, they are well within their rights.
Yeah.
to be as Muslims to be calling for their death.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
They're not well within their rights as humans.
No.
But
no.
as Muslims.
As decent humans.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or just as humans.
I'll put decent in front of it.
I think humans are decent. Anyway, what do you got?
All right. Let's see. So John Polk is a name that might be familiar to some people. Probably not to most, though.
Yeah, not to me. Who was that?
He was... he's an ex-gay, or he was an ex-gay. He was big in the ex-gay movement back in the 90s.
Oh, I always find that so sad and cute.
Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't, but that's okay.
That is okay.
This picture. He kind of... We were talking about this earlier. He kind of looks like a lesbian.
He does look, yeah, especially,
And
it's the cover picture, it's the cover of his book.
And he's with his wife.
It looks like a lesbian couple. You can't tell
Yeah.
which one's supposed to be the man.
Well, you can tell...
It's
You
the butch
can't
one.
tell which one is the man. You can tell that one is definitely a woman.
Yes, okay.
The other
that's
one
true.
you can't tell.
That's true. The wife is definitely a woman.
And if you just saw the picture, you would assume
lesbian.
Lesbian.
Yeah, lesbian couple.
Because it says the title of the book was Love One Out. Of course that's a lesbian book, right? So anyways.
It would need to have a... Like, it's the kind of photo where you feel like if they panned back and took a wide shot, there'd be a dog and a guitar somewhere in the photo, sort of thing.
Sure, yeah.
And a Jeep in the background.
Yeah, it's why they cropped in on it. But anyway, so he has renounced and apologized for being involved in the ex-gay movement. And he...
Wow.
yeah. He... and I got this in on advocate.com.
Finally, somebody admits that the lust for cock is stronger than their desire to please a fake Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Advocate was fine with that.
Oh yeah.
And so let's see. Here's a nice little quote from his statement. It says, "For the better part of 10 years, I was an advocate and spokesman for what's known as the ex-gay movement, where we declared that sexual orientation could be changed through a close-knit relationship with God, intensive therapy, and strong determination. At the time, I truly believed that it would happen. And while many things in my life did change as a Christian, my sexual orientation did not." Oh, that's too bad.
I think we could have told you that, buddy.
Yeah. So anyway, so he is getting a divorce from his... he was married to an ex-gay woman for 20 years.
They were both
ex... That's the only way it would ever work. Let's face it.
That's not true. We happen to know someone who's making it work.
Anywho. We'll see for how long.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I hate to be that way, but this guy, he was the poster child.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
He wrote a book.
But this guy's claiming that
with his lesbian wife.
This guy was trying to be ex-gay. Our friend Josh is not trying to be ex-gay. He's gay and married to a woman.
It's just...
That's not a semantic difference. There is a major difference there. I'm not saying that it'll work. I am saying that there is a major difference between trying to get over your gayness, trying to not be gay anymore, and being gay, but making it work in a different way. There's a difference.
While married to a woman.
I'm not saying I recommend it.
I will let you...
We need to have Josh on the show. We need to talk to Josh on the show. Okay. God, snooty over there. Somebody's snooty.
I'm not snooty. I know that this is Polk, of course, continuing. He says, "I know that countless people were harmed by things I said and did in the past. I am truly, truly sorry for the pain I have caused. From the bottom of my heart, I wish I could take back my words and actions that caused anger, depression, guilt, and hopelessness.
Oh, wow.
In their place, I want to extend love, hope, tenderness, joy, and the truth that gay people are loved by God."
Okay, well,
yeah, the last part
kind of doesn't sit well with us. But the truth is, that's amazing that he recognizes that what he said did have consequences, and did cause pain and did cause hurt. Right. And I think that that's so great that he's.
It was only the first 10 years of their marriage that they were outspoken. For the last 10 years, they've kind of withdrawn.
Okay. So
And
he's
him
had some time to think and really reflect.
At least he has. And so he's been spending a lot of time. And let me tell you, if he was really wrestling with this for a while.
Clearly.
But yeah, he's I guess he must be he's up in Oregon. I know that. I don't know if it's Portland or where, but yeah, you'll notice in this photo that he is wearing chef's garb.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he runs a catering company that's now doing a lot of work with they're doing donations to AIDS advocacy groups.
Oh great.
Oh, in his Portland-based catering company.
Oh good.
Yeah. So he's trying to make amends.
He's doing it. Yeah, I think he's doing great.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he sees it seems very sincere to me.
It'd be very easy to condemn, to continue to condemn somebody and to not accept somebody like him,
right?
With open arms into the gay community. But I think the only appropriate thing is to take somebody at their word,
Absolutely.
that they feel bad about it, and move on.
The fact that he recognizes that
and
what
let
he did,
him cater some events for free.
Hells yeah,
Yeah.
hells yeah.
And probably I don't know he's saying donations to AIDS advocacy groups, and he runs a catering company. They're probably, passing on some Meals on Wheels type stuff.
That'd be great.
I mean, who knows? But at least some leftovers. Who knows?
Yeah.
So,
anyway, well, that's some good news in the world. That's nice.
Yeah. And then back to Dan.
Oh yeah, I've got nothing but like mine just get increasingly depressing as I move on.
Great. Dan.
I don't know how I ended up doing that.
Continue trying to add some levity.
Are you the last one? No, you went first, huh?
Yeah. Are we ending on a?
We're ending on a horrible. Wait, no.
Would you like to do two?
I'll do two in a row. I'll depress us twice in a row, and then we can and then we'll go on to your last one, and then that'll be better.
Well, mine is it's not. I because I don't know what you have.
Trust me.
I suspect it's some sort of slaughter or something. Mine is nothing like that. It's an offensive comment.
Okay. Yeah, we'll end on offensive comment. I'm going to do two in a row. Both of mine involve children, and that's what's so hard about this. But I couldn't just let them sit. I couldn't just move past it. I can't decide which one to do first. I'm going to do this one first. In Pennsylvania, now we've discussed on this show before the horrific phenomenon of people losing their children, their children dying because rather than seek medical attention, they chose to pray for their child. Yeah. We've discussed this before.
Yeah,
it breaks my heart every time I think about it.
And it's disgusting and it's awful.
And yet I don't doubt the sincerity of these people.
Sure.
I don't doubt,
but they shouldn't have kids.
Mm-mm.
And I think in those cases, the state should be able to take those kids away. Because it's child abuse.
But I don't think that it's easy. I don't think it's as easy as they're just bad people. I think that they are good people who genuinely are trying to do the best thing cosmically for their family.
But take their kids.
Yeah.
Their kids are in harm's way.
Indeed.
Get them out of there.
Well, and here's evidence of that. This is a couple in Pennsylvania who just lost their second child.
Jesus.
To prayer. Honestly, I how else do you put it? They died of prayer. Both of these kids had...
I'm sorry for laughing, but you phrased that in a funny way, damn it, Dan.
Well, it's okay. I think we need to laugh. Not at the story, but just because of the story, we need laughter.
Right.
Both of these kids, so one back in 2009, this couple, they were already on probation. They only got probation. That's the other thing, is the judges just slapped their wrists.
Jesus.
But 2009, they had a toddler die because he had a bacterial infection. He had a bacterial pneumonia. This is so easy for us to cure.
Right.
We have the cure for this.
Right.
But no, they prayed, he died. Now, they just lost another son, 8 months old, after he suffered from diarrhea and breathing problems and stopped eating. I'm sorry. There's just, especially after you've lost one. Now, granted...
No, their faith was strengthened.
See, this is the problem.
Yeah.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
They don't learn the lesson.
Yeah, no, because they went through a trial of their faith, they came out even stronger. They were more
They believed
convicted.
even more. They went and talked to their religious
felt more
congregation,
Yeah.
and explained how it only served to strengthen their faith.
Yeah.
This is the problem with religion. This is a big problem also with conspiracy theorists. I don't know if we have any listeners now who believe that 9/11 was an inside job or whatever. But the
Right.
truth of the matter is that when you listen to conspiracy theorists, any evidence against what they believe becomes evidence for their belief. They find a way to twist it around until it makes their belief about their conspiracy true.
Right.
So the fact that, that the Twin Towers really would have crumbled in that way if they were hit by airplanes only serves to prove that the government knew how the Twin Towers would crumble. So blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what you say to people.
Right.
If they want to believe a thing,
They'll believe it.
whatever evidence you present,
Yeah.
one side or the other,
Right.
will be evidence in favor of their belief.
Right. Yep.
It's an ugly cycle, and it's terrifying to me. And these people, what do you do with this? How do you make the cautionary tale clear to everyone? You just want to go out and shake everybody. Everyone who has ever prayed instead of taking their kid, fine. You know what? If it's your own life and you want to pray if you're an adult,
pray for God to cure you.
right?
And reject all medicine.
Yeah.
And reject all medical care.
You're stupid for doing it, but fine.
But you're an adult, you're making a choice about yourself.
right.
These are these aren't even children. These are infants. Well, one's an infant, the other one was a toddler.
Right.
But nonetheless, these are in no way are these children capable
Of making that decision.
of making
for
a
themselves.
decision.
That's something you just
no
don't.
way.
You have no right to not treat these kids.
Right.
I don't care what you think your God told you.
Right.
We need to take these kids away from
It
these
needs to
people.
be viewed legally as child abuse.
It
to
is.
deny children medical care
It's-
for any reason.
And it's beyond child abuse. It's infanticide.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
They're murderers. And they're not murderers.
They're not
They're
murderers.
neglectful.
They didn't have any intent.
It's neglectful manslaughter, though.
Right.
Or whatever. I don't know what the legal jargon would be. But these people. I mean, and God, it's so much. I can't imagine what they're going through having lost their child.
Yeah.
I don't care about punishing them because I'm not a big punishment guy. I feel like they're probably.
They just don't get to have more kids.
You can't have kids though. You can't. You're not allowed anywhere near raising a child.
How about this? You have a child that dies because you denied that child medical care. You are sterilized.
Boy, that's not a slippery slope. It's a sticky thing. There's a lot of ethical questions that
You're
come
not
around.
allowed to have more kids.
You're not allowed.
You're
to
not
have more.
allowed to bring more kids into our society.
No, but I mean, but the problem with sterilization is it doesn't allow for them to leave their religion later on and whatever. You know what I mean? But you're saying they've just given up the right to have kids forever.
Yeah.
Once they've done this once.
Yeah.
Possible.
Why not?
Yeah. I don't know. Something's got to be done though. This is happening all over the country. It doesn't get.
Or you're told if you have another kid, we're going to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not sterilized, but you're not allowed to have more kids.
If you get pregnant and you carry it to term, that's fine, but we will take it.
We're banning
You do not get to.
You don't
raise
get to
that
bring
child.
more kids in. The kids you have, they're grandfathered in, but no more.
Right. Yep. I think that's right. And the kids you have,
obviously,
and those kids
obviously,
you
I
have.
don't think this is actually a viable solution.
No.
Right. Like I don't think that politically
you could ever actually make that happen.
Make it happen. But I'm just saying, on just sort of just like the right thing. There has to be a right thing to do here.
Right. Yeah.
And the right thing is to try them for manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right thing.
But again, the right thing is to figure out a way to convince people that you have to treat your kids.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with medicine, people.
Oh,
hey, maybe God helped people make medicine so that That's how God is helping you cure your sickness.
Yeah, exactly.
Is through the miracle of modern medicine.
God directed
Medicine's a
Marie
miracle.
Curie.
Yeah, why not?
To
Let
come
that
up-
be the narrative for these people. If that's what it takes for them to drag their kids in to get some care, just believe that God made the medicine.
Yeah. Yep. It's all very frustrating. So that's the first depressing story.
Oh.
Depressing story number 1 out of the way.
Okay.
That's the lighthearted one. The second one is this. Dateline Santiago, Chile.
Okay.
Is it Santiago? No, it's
I
not.
was worried it was.
No, is
Okay.
it Santiago? No, it's Chile though.
Chile.
There's a small sect in Chile,
Okay.
led by a guy named Castillo Gayate.
Okay.
Led by Ramon Gustavo Castillo Gayate. Sorry about
God,
that.
that's a lot of name.
They always have lots of names down in the southern hemisphere in South America. Anyway, so, trying to.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. There's that whole Latin American thing of having a lot of names.
Yeah, no,
having
yeah.
everybody's name that is in
It's
your
like your
family.
father's name, last name, and your mom's last name, and
Your mother's father's last name, and your
Right.
father's mother's, and then all that.
Oh.
Anyway, so in Chile, the police arrested 4 people in this little sect because they burned a baby alive because it was the antichrist.
oh dear God,
3-day-old baby
are you kidding me?
taken to a hill in the town of Coyhaique, near the Chilean port of Valparaiso, and thrown into a bonfire.
Jesus Christ,
The mother was apparently
was she in on it?
in on it,
Oh my God.
and the baby, yeah, they decided that this baby was evil.
How? What does it? Did it cry too much? Like what in God's
3
name?
days? 3 days is not enough time to know if your baby cries too much. 3-day-old baby.
There's no.
No. So, this article, this AP article, ends with saying that police said that the guy, the ringleader, I won't say his name again, any of them, was last seen traveling to Peru to buy ayahuasca.
Good.
Now, I'm not going to make the link. They're clearly trying to make the link that ayahuasca was part of what fueled this insanity.
Mm.
I'm not sure I disagree with that statement. I'm definitely not positive that happened, but my God, you start to get your mind going in some weird directions
Yeah.
when you do a lot of psychotropic drugs.
Sure. Yeah.
Whether that can get you to the point where you're okay with killing a baby, I don't know. I've got plenty of friends who have done ayahuasca a bunch of times, and none of them have committed infanticide.
Right,
that
but
I know about. But you
it also
combine that-
depends on whatever strange little, backwoods religious-y thing.
Exactly. You combine it with crazy, weird religious sect, and you
Yeah.
don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's just, but it's so, this is where religion meets the worst part of humanity. This
Yeah.
is where you would not be able to convince these people to kill a baby without religion.
No.
There's no way that you could talk these people and this mother into murdering a baby, a 3-day-old baby, without religion being there. And you hear the religious people talking about how, and yeah, there are horrific things on the other side that are done by non-religious people.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of thing, ritual sacrifice of a baby, you don't get to that point without religion. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, religious people go pick at that.
Wow, Dan.
Yeah. Well, there
You
go.
got some anger going on.
Well, I'm mad. I'm mad when people murder a baby. Yeah. That'll piss me off.
Yeah.
That doesn't upset you?
It makes me sad.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm to the point of anger.
Okay.
because maybe sickly, sadly, whatever, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I have to. I'm the kind of person that I'm able to. I mean, it definitely makes me sad, but I have some walls built up where it's like, okay, well, it's halfway around the world, and
I don't know.
and I don't know that I can let that ruin my day.
No,
and that's
no, and I don't.
I mean? Like,
and that's not where I'm going either. But when I think about it, and I think about how this can be led to happen, and I think about all of the outrage that is spent on that abortion guy, that little abortion clinic in wherever it was that everybody's outraged about, Grover, what's his name, that went and
I don't recall.
There were apparently a few babies that emerged from the mother alive and then were killed.
Oh dear God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean that there was moral outrage coming from the religious right on that point.
Right.
And I'm outraged too.
Right.
But the fact is that that religion can be used to create worse atrocities than that.
Yeah, right.
And that and
so that's what you're saying. Go bomb that.
Yeah, exactly.
Christians.
Yeah, go. I mean, these people were Christian people.
Yeah.
Go get after them.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I've got another Christian.
Okay.
To absolutely go a totally different direction.
Oh, goody.
You're familiar with Mark Driscoll?
Oh, yeah. He's in the Pacific Northwest somewhere, right?
Mars Hill. He's the Mars Hill guy.
Yeah.
Right. Mars Hill Church. Well, he's in a little bit of I don't know if he's actually even in hot water, but people are criticizing him for a sermon that he gave on marriage, in which he criticized nagging wives. Quote, "And some women, you're a nag. You're disrespectful. You're quarrelsome. Being married to you is like a life sentence." And the guy's just scratching on his wall every day. One more day. Just one more day.
Oh, my God.
Proverbs talks about certain women. They're like a dripping faucet. You ever try to sleep with a dripping faucet? Plunk, 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 plunk. It's what we use to torture people who are prisoners of war.
Oh, he is a treat. Oh, I bet his wife was so happy about that.
Oh, she was probably out there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of you are nags.
And all of the women who are nags were sitting there looking around like, I wonder which one of these bitches it is.
Apparently, the whole thing elicited laughter from the
Well, of course
from the
it did.
audience.
Of course it did. And probably only a small percentage of that was uncomfortable laughter. There was probably a bunch of it that was totally like on board laughter.
Yeah.
And then this small little percent that was like, I don't know if you should be saying this.
He makes me uncomfortable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of course, he doesn't go after husbands who are assholes.
No, he does.
Oh, okay.
But this is how he goes about it. He called today's men pathetic, arguing that they tend to shirk their responsibilities instead of owning up to them. Okay. So, quote, "For the first time in the nation's history, the majority of children born to young women are born out of wedlock. For the first time in the nation's history, young women are more likely than young men to be in college, to be in church, to be in the workforce, and even have a driver's license. We live in a day when men are acting like boys, even though they are men. And they're mooching off their mothers, and they're mooching off their girlfriends, and they're abandoning their responsibility. It's a fool's parade, but there's no punchline for the joke."
Fool's parade. It's one of my new favorite phrases. A fool's parade.
But there's no punchline for the joke.
No.
That's what he says.
He doesn't realize that he is the punchline for the joke. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
In a marriage, there are two big problems.
Mm-hmm.
That men aren't being the breadwinners, and that women need to shut the hell up.
Yeah. Sounds right to me.
It kind of gels with my view of reality,
that
pretty much.
Seems to be right.
Will you ladies can you shut up for a minute? Can you just give us a second to breathe? Jesus Christ.
I feel like a prisoner of war in here.
Yeah, I'm scratching at the walls.
It's a life sentence. I can't get a divorce, according to Driscoll.
Oh my God, the number of men that must have come to him complaining for him to make a sermon out of this shit.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. And women
You know
complaining because he's like, I just can't find a good man. Right. Like all these men are just boys. They're all just boys.
Although, frankly, I got to say, women coming to him to complain probably just sounds like so much chatter.
It's just nagging.
God, why?
God,
shut
this
up.
woman needs to shut up about this thing.
Is she going to go on forever? Okay, I hear you. Okay, yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Which is apparently the appropriate response to naggery.
So he also, in his sermon...
Oh, there's more.
Oh.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, I don't know if this... Yeah, but anyways, I'm going to continue. Driscoll also compared the marriage relationship to a garden, in which the wife is the garden and the husband is the gardener.
Oh my God. What the fuck does that...
Quote,
It means that her whole job is to pump out the babies.
Some of you guys would say, man, there's a lot of weeds at my house. You're the gardener. Man, there's a lot of rotten fruit at my house. You're the gardener.
Oh my God.
You're the gardener. What you don't need is another garden. You need to be a better gardener.
What the fuck is he talking about? Like, at first I'm like, okay, it's about, procreation or whatever. But I mean,
no.
What is he talking about?
Tending the woman. Tending to your wife.
It's about creating your wife to be the person that you want her to be. It's about molding and shaping the wife until she's the correct wife for you.
Mm-hmm.
So frankly, I mean, honestly, if she's nagging, you're the gardener.
Well, I think it's you get the fruits of what you put into it.
If she's nagging, garden.
Yeah.
Get the fucking gloves on and garden that bitch.
Yeah.
Until she's right.
Yeah.
God damn it. That's just crazy. What's funny is the first thing you said when you were doing the gardening quote, what was the first thing you said? Do the first part of the quote again.
Some of you guys would say, man, there's a lot of weeds at my house.
Which all I could think about was, gosh, she kind of needs to do some grooming.
Yeah.
She's so there's some hedges that need pruning,
yeah.
if you know what I'm saying.
Oh,
in the down there part of the garden.
Hip to hip.
Oh my God. Wow. How much would you love to be married to him?
Oh, I bet he has a good marriage.
Oh, yeah. You know why? He gardens the fuck out of that woman.
Yeah.
He gardens like a motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Probably.
How far down the rabbit hole do you have to go before you start? Oh, I don't know. I'm at a loss.
How far down the rabbit hole before you do what?
Before that kind of bullshit comes out of your mouth.
Oh.
Before this is where you go with it. Like your marriage is suffering because the woman's a bitch and the man's not gardening.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you even garden? How does that work? I want to know the ins and outs of how that works in his mind.
I don't know
either.
But it does seem like the Archie Bunker sort of, right? I mean, that's who he is talking to, and that's who he's getting to show up to church. That's who feels the need to be legitimized. That's the whole Archie Bunker phenomenon.
Yeah,
right. Where it's supposed to be, satire of this sort of dying breed of America, and it ends up being embraced by that same section of America
as the
and
heroes,
being held up as a hero.
Yeah, mind you, we're in our late 30s, so younger listeners will not know what the hell you're talking about.
Well,
with Archie Bunker.
A lot of people in our age may not even know who Archie Bunker is.
That's true.
Anyways,
but
if you don't, it's an important part of television history.
Oh,
and you should watch. You should watch some All in the Family.
Anyway, I don't know the words to that song. I just remember them singing it.
We could use a man like Hoover again. Right? Isn't that the...
Those were the days!
It probably wasn't Herbert Hoover.
Probably not. I'm guessing it's... I don't know. Maybe, you never
Maybe
know.
it was. I don't know.
Who knows? Anyway. You don't... Anyway. So, if you want to get in touch with us...
Yeah, Facebook...
To tell us, shoot us a link about where we can look up the theme song on...
Yeah, there you go.
On All in the Family.
Yeah, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Yeah, or you can
like us.
Yeah, or you can email us on at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail at 424-666-8442.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to some audio. We'll be right back.
Why have we been arguing about marriage? We have been so foolish. It is not about gays. It's not about homosexuals. It's not about any of that. It is about freedom. And the reason why they've won is because they've made it about freedom. And freedom, everyone basically understands freedom. That more freedom, not less. And so the argument has been, who are you to tell me what I can and cannot do? And by saying, well, because it always is, what's happened? You've lost. And by doing so, by not getting and turning into it soon enough, what's happened is you've been painted into a corner of a bigot. That's why they've won, because the principle of it is right. The principle is easy to understand. Who are you to say?
Going back, people.
What did I just hear?
Okay. Let's not try to twist or take his words out of context. He is not coming out in favor of gay rights.
No.
He's simply saying that the gay rights are the argument for gay marriage is the one that has the stickiness that it needs. It's about freedom.
It's the correct one.
It's the correct one in our system, in our legal system. It's very easy to define. Right?
Well, here's the thing.
It's easy to say. It's about freedom.
What's amazing to me is this is the same thing we heard Bill O'Reilly do a couple weeks ago, which is that
the bill takes a different perspective.
Yeah, but what ends up happening is that they both end up very clearly saying that, the gay rights movement has the better argument. And the implicit thing, there's this pause there. Neither of them said, which I agree with.
Right.
They both said it's the better argument. And it's clear that they just want an argument on their side to rise up.
Right.
But they don't have it. They don't have the right argument.
Bill O'Reilly obviously goes a little bit further.
He did go a little
Glenn Beck does, which is he says that he's always been okay with
civil
unions, right? I mean, Glenn,
which is bullshit. That's not true.
Well, regardless,
demonstrably
he's trying to say that he's kind of that he's never changed on it, and this is where he is now.
Right. I've always been okay with that. I want everyone to be happy. That's what Bill O'Reilly said. I want everyone to be happy.
And that's obviously not where Glenn Beck's coming from at all.
Oh no, Glenn Beck he's
Glenn
desperate
Beck is acknowledging that the argument on the other side from him is better.
He declared a winner.
Yeah.
The winner is the gays.
Yeah.
They win.
They've won because
they've won. Yeah. I just think it's amazing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, they don't have an argument.
Well, this is how someone who has lost a major war thrashes around.
Yeah.
After realizing that they've lost.
Yeah.
Even though
there are battles, still can't get married.
No, there are battles still to be fought.
Oh yeah, Glenn Beck, we've won. We gays, we've won. Guess what?
Eventually.
No.
You've won eventually.
Well, we have won the hearts and minds of the American people.
It's true.
Yep.
Now it's just getting the laws to catch up.
Fabulous. That's all you have to do. You just have to convince people that you're fabulous.
That's true. That's true. The way the gays did it, which was smart, or part of the way the gays did it, was to win the hearts and minds of the housewives.
Yeah.
You get that Will and Grace thing going.
When we're good recruiters too.
The recruitment is
the recruitment
amazing.
program. has been very helpful.
It's been really strong.
Yeah.
Really, really strong.
Yeah, you get a free toaster.
You're not helping.
Sign up.
You're not helping, Frank.
What do you mean?
Somebody might believe.
What? It's a 72-hour trial period.
Just try. God, that would be the best pickup line ever. For the gay men who are so into getting straight guys for a little bit, this pickup line just like a recruitment whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can just try it for 72 hours. If you don't like it, that's fine. You can return to your straight lifestyle. No questions asked.
Right, yeah.
After 72 hours, you've bought in and you're gay.
You can keep the toaster.
You get the toaster. You get the calendar. And
I am milking an old joke here, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyways,
well, an old
we
to
should
us.
we should put a link up for people who don't know it.
For the recruitment.
Yeah.
The gay
The
recruitment.
National Gay Recruitment Council.
Anyway, hey, we've got some correspondence.
Ooh,
From people.
Where do we want to start?
Well, I'm going to do some emails.
Do emails, and then I'll do voicemail. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
So we've got Eric who says, "Hi there, Swedish listener here."
Hi, Eric.
Eric from Sweden.
Sweden.
From
Hello, Sweden.
Sverige, I believe is the Swedish word for Sweden.
Ooh, wow.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Eric, write back to me if I'm wrong on that.
How do you say hello?
All I can think of is thank you, which is talk talk. What? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh.
When you order your korv, which is a hot dog that's too long for its bun,
Oh, okay, fine.
and then you say,
Better to have more hot dog than bun.
yeah.
That's always
But
better.
it's like literally like an inch and a half on
that's
either
nice.
side.
You
get this tiny little bun and this really long.
That's nice. I like
Sausage.
that.
Yeah,
Good.
I
they
bet
do.
you
They do
do.
hot dogs right then.
I
in
bet you
Sweden.
do. You gay. You big fat gay.
Oh, did you really have to take it there?
Trust me, when you see like the pictures that are on the sides of the Corv like stands, it's hard not to think that it's pretty fucking phallic. But that's okay. Anyway, Eric, we'll get back to Eric's email now. You know what? It's
Always into the gutter with you, Dan.
kind of where I live. Anyway, he says he's been enjoying the podcast and came across something he hopes we can answer. I've been following Prison Break, the series, and came across an episode where the protagonist, Michael, suddenly glances over on a church in the middle of a remorseful moment. He goes inside and confesses his sins. This all felt really out of place and weird for his character. Could it be that the writers of the series are not wanting to alienate the Christian viewers? Is this common in American TV? I know they did something similar with The Walking Dead. He says, excuse the English, which is hilarious because it's pretty much perfect. Damn Swedes and their perfect English. And he says, keep up the good work.
Right.
So,
I didn't watch the show.
I don't watch the show, but I mean, it's a question. If you to hear the Christians talk about it, there is no God anywhere on TV or in the movies.
Oh,
it doesn't exist.
Hollywood
is
everybody knows Hollywood's filled with liberals
and
atheists, Jews,
and
homos,
and yeah,
and that's who's. If you just pull out Hollywood,
it's
just like this. If a conservative is talking about Hollywood, that's what they mean.
That's what they mean. Yeah, bunch of. It's a hive. It's a nest of just iniquity.
Just awful. How God can handle not destroying it.
I know.
It's hard to imagine
that, and
I wonder what he's up to. What is he up to? Why does he let that city continue?
I know.
That industry, that horrible entertainment industry.
Between that and Las Vegas, you've got a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Boom, right there. Burn them both.
Well, apparently they have not committed the unforgivable sin of inhospitality.
That's true. They are, honestly, you can't accuse Las Vegas of being inhospitable.
Based in the hospitality industry.
Their entire economy.
The whole economy.
The entire economy.
So they have not committed the crime of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Anyway, I don't know, Eric. I mean, here's the thing. We're looking at religion in things. As far as I'm concerned, no religion's good religion on the TV, but
I haven't seen the show, but here's what I'm thinking.
okay.
it might have been a lazy moment for the writers because they needed a device that people would easily and quickly recognize as being
remorseful. Yeah.
And that's probably all it was.
It's a quick go-to.
Yeah.
You're right. I think you're right. It's just a nice...
It's easy. They
how
needed a short day for whatever reason.
How do you get your character...
just send him to a church.
Right. How do you get your character to show that he's that he's feeling remorse and not just write the line, "Gosh, I'm feeling remorse."
Well, I applaud them for not writing the line.
Right, yes.
And to actually try to come up with something visual.
Right.
To tell the story. But nonetheless.
It's a pretty, I mean, I think you're right. I think it's nothing to do with anybody in a meeting going, we need to put some, we need to cater to the Christians right now. We need to put something in there.
No.
Although I wouldn't put it past them on certain things.
It was Fox. Wasn't it Fox?
I don't know.
I think that was a Fox show.
Anyway.
But anyways.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I fall on it. So thanks for writing, Eric. I did want to thank Matthew, a new donor.
Ooh, thank you, Matthew.
Who gave us a nice, generous donation. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
We got an email from a man named Dr. Steve.
Dr. Steve. Okay.
Well, he has a last name, but we don't do last names. So.
Right.
But Steve said, because last week, do you remember we talked a little bit? We talked about suicide.
Oh yeah,
we talked about dealing with we had another listener email us about suicide studies and whether their suicide was higher among atheists and all that sort of thing. And he said on suicide, not that I disagree with anything that you said, but there is stuff to be said about suicide rates and religiosity. He's one of the things that he points out. He says. He can give us studies if he likes, but it turned out that in places like Ireland, coroners were less likely to want to upset families by defining death as suicide than in more open and accepting societies like in Scandinavia.
Right. Okay.
So in Ireland, regardless of circumstances, it used to be the fact that suicide was only recorded where there was an actual suicide note.
Oh wow.
So he says any study of suicide rates will only uncover how coroners behave.
Very interesting.
And coroners do not want to upset families.
Very interesting point. Yeah.
So the suicide rates reflect religiosity rather than reflect any other causal link with religiosity that we can unravel.
Wow. So you could, in a very religious area, end up having a lot more. It's not being reported. And it could be, who knows, equal to a place that's largely secular.
Right. What it means is that we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Right.
So,
but it could be.
But you never know. You never know. But thank you.
Well, there's so many factors. Right.
Right. There's so many.
I don't even know how you would compare one country's numbers to another.
Well, but what we were talking about is suicide
know?
Rates among atheists versus suicide rates among believers.
Right.
And there's no way to know. There just aren't enough good studies that were done with the proper controls in place,
right?
For us to know. But I mean, the larger question still was, and I think we answered. I think our answer to this was probably good. But the larger question was, we need to be on guard for this. I mean, it's something where we need to be careful. We need to take care of each other as an atheist community because the religious community has structures in place to take care of each other. Atheist community doesn't yet. And that's an interesting question for me.
Right.
It's something we need to work on. I'm not sure how. But thanks, Dr. Steve, for writing in.
Thank you.
We had a post on the blog regarding our discussion of chief rabbis.
Oh,
I did a story last week involving a guy that was in line to be the chief rabbi in England.
And we were taken to task.
We were, because what I said was that chief rabbi is just sort of it doesn't really mean anything.
You said it was a figurehead of sorts, right?
Right, and that since there's no real centralization of Judaism,
right,
the title of chief rabbi religiously is meaningless. Because there's no rabbi that's placed above any other rabbi religiously.
Right.
Turns out religiously that's true, but politically that's very much not the case.
Oh, okay. So our comments were misleading.
They were misleading, and I'm grateful to Marilyn for writing in and letting us know. So basically, chief rabbi is a position which is incredibly powerful in many countries. There are chief rabbis in cities, and chief rabbis in countries, but the countries that do have chief rabbis, frequently that is the person who is tasked with the job of defining who is a Jew to the state.
Oh.
And that's the person who's tasked with determining
on an individual basis,
defining what a Jew is, and
yes, no,
you could be Jew. You are not a Jew, but you are Jewish, and you. Anyway, but no, Marilyn, who wrote, said that she would be because she's not married. She describes herself as a legal Jew.
Okay.
She would never have been.
Where was Marilyn?
I think she's from the U.S. She's here in the United States somewhere.
Oh, okay.
But she says, though she is a legal Jew, if there were a chief rabbi of the U.S., which there isn't,
okay.
She would never have been allowed to become a Jew due to the fact that she was and is married to a non-Jew.
Really?
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know what all. I haven't looked into that to see if that to verify that that's correct.
That is complicated.
But the chief rabbi of a country is the person who would determine such things, who would determine what in that country would qualify you to be a Jew and what would disqualify you to be a Jew.
Holy cow!
And that's meaningful because there's money that states give to to religions, or there's there's taxes that are collected or not collected based on whether whether your synagogue counts or whatever. So there are a lot of political ramifications involved in the decisions that these chief rabbis make.
Okay.
So I wanted, so we needed to be clear about that. She also took me to task a little bit for calling a kippah a yarmulke, but as far as my research goes, those two words are fairly interchangeable. So I'm not going to give that one to you, Marilyn.
Well, one is more in vogue, right?
Yeah, I think kippah is more commonly used. So yeah. She also said that the reason, because I was talking about a rabbi who came to a dinner that I attended,
sure, yeah.
And I was joking that I thought, if he goes there, he needs to wear the yarmulke, the
He needs to
kippah,
look the part,
so that he looks the part.
So we all know who he is.
And she said that you traditionally would only wear a yarmulke or a kippah. I'm going to call it a yarmulke. Just
call it a kippah.
Spite her.
No, come on. Call it.
No, just to spite her. No, I'm just kidding. But she said that she points out that traditionally it was used to just while praying. You cover your head while praying. But that's a little disingenuous, Marilyn, because we know that there are plenty of sects where they're worn all the time. What?
Oh, nothing.
You gave me a look like what?
You're just calling this woman out.
Well, I did some research. She I thank her for her input, and then I researched it out.
Right.
And yeah, there are plenty of sects of Judaism that will wear it at all times.
Sure.
And it's not something, it can be just for prayer, but it can also be she mentioned that it could be, that there are sects that say that you're praying all the time.
Right.
So you wear that. But even if you don't believe that all of your life is a prayer and that's why you wear the kippah, there are other groups that believe that it's just a respectful sign to God to wear the kippah.
Is it ever considered like an outward sign of devotion? Like
it's considered
like to the world?
Yes. Yeah. There are some people who say that you should wear it to show that you are Jewish, to show the world that you are Jewish, and to give that signal to the world.
All right.
Anyway.
Okie dokie.
Kippah.
Yeah.
Or yarmulke.
Okie doke. What else you got?
We also have another subscriber, a donor. So thank you, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
You guys,
nice
it's really helpful. We just, things cost money.
Yeah.
So it's very useful when you guys are willing to donate to us.
Yeah.
Jared wrote in. He said he's been listening to the show since January, and he's since then listened to every episode. Thank you very much.
Wow, Jared.
He's halfway through high school at the moment, and he's had some doubts. And he was listening to our. He said listening to our show helped him decide that he's actually an atheist.
Cool.
But he goes to a Catholic high school. He hasn't told anybody yet. Considering that it might be a pretty big deal. And as Paige said when he was on our show, if you're a teen, or
if you're living at home,
it might not be a bad idea to just sort of assess your own situation.
Yeah,
and if you think that it could cause more trouble than it's worth, hang on to it.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
So anyways, so what else did he have to say?
He says he tries to get some of his ideas to his super conservative friends on his Facebook account. He can't really bring up important topics to friends his age and get anywhere in actual conversation. And he thinks he's not getting anywhere on the Facebook as well. So he says some of the pictures I've shared from shared from conservative pages have made me close my computer and walk off steaming. Yeah, Jared, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
If your goal is to change hearts and minds, you're in trouble because it's especially in a forum like Facebook.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Where it's all sound bites and quick snippets. You're just not going to change anybody's mind ever about anything at all.
Right.
So you got to come to terms with that.
And somebody who's like bothering to post, I would think they're not on the fence, right? Like it's winning the hearts and minds of people who are kind of, I believe, but I don't really. But if they're fervent, there's no hope.
No.
Here's
Here's what you can do, and here's what my goal has become on Facebook. I generally don't engage like some ultra Christian thing that someone's posted. But what I will do is, if something's offensive, if something's well-meaning but offensive, I will very gently, and I'm going to reiterate that, very gently just tell people what my point of view is. And just say, I appreciate where you're coming from on this, but it's hurtful to me when you put it this way, and here's why. Anything more than that, you're just fighting.
Right.
And that's all that it's going to launch into, and it's not going to be productive in any way. And sometimes, and a lot of people like that. A lot of people enjoy a good few rounds in the ring.
Right.
But you're certainly not going to accomplish anything. That person's going to feel more justified posting that bullshit than they were before you had the conversation. So you got to think about what your goal is. Yeah. If your goal is just to have a good fight, believe me, you'll be able to.
Okay. And there's more in there, right?
Yeah.
Something about...
Yeah, he also said, let's see. He's at this Catholic high school. He's required to pray every morning along with the pledge. And they pray at the beginning of every theology class. And he says he usually just goes along with it, as I don't see the need to do anything and stick out. It's hard. I'm having tough decisions to make. I don't necessarily want to leave. I've been attending since kindergarten, and I don't feel comfortable stopping now.
Right. Nor would that be necessarily a good idea. I mean, changing schools
it could be rough,
miserable experience for most people. And in addition to that, I mean, I don't know how your Catholic schools are in your area, but the Catholic schools here in Salt Lake are the good schools to go to. And so, you're getting yourself a good education.
Sure.
And you just have to put up with some prayer for a little bit every once in a while. I say go. There's no reason to screw yourself out of a good education.
Just let them pray. Know how you feel about it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to hurt you to hear them pray every day.
No.
It's just going to be, I mean, it might be a mild annoyance or whatever, but believe me, we all have mild annoyances throughout the entirety of our lives.
Yeah.
Some of them are about religious things. Some of them are about whatever.
Yeah.
So it'll be fine. I know. Just hang in there. I feel like we should do an It Gets Better video.
We could.
It gets better, Jared. Don't worry.
All right.
Okay, wait, we got one more.
Okie doke.
Brandon wrote in and said he just wanted to let us know that he appreciated the episode on grieving and suicide. He said dealing with his uncle's suicide was when he was a kid was integral in his deconversion.
Oh,
Since his mother was raised Catholic and given their view on suicide, it hit her pretty hard, even though his parents left the Catholic Church long before. Her saying that she didn't believe that a part of the Bible couldn't be true led Brandon to wonder what else there was that was up to interpretation.
Huh.
Yeah, he said also a friend of ours had just recently had the experience of dealing with a grief counselor because a woman at her office was dealing with the suicide of her husband. He just wanted to share that the grief counselor actually stated that the common quote, "in a better place now" comments are actually not the appropriate thing to say at all, religious or not, especially in the case of suicide, since that can actually put undue emphasis on the negative aspects of that person's life when they were still alive, which could lead to guilt for those grieving.
Right. Or if you are Christian, that person's in hell.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
depending on how you believe.
Right. Now, most people who've had a loved one, no matter what their beliefs are, but they've had a loved one commit suicide,
right?
They rationalize the whole thing away.
Of course they do.
They're like, well, but God knows his heart.
Right.
God knows that he was suffering.
Right.
And so he couldn't possibly put him in hell for that.
Yeah, it's like that who's the famous preacher whose son recently committed suicide?
Oh,
and he was talking about how his son was mentally ill, and now he's a big mental illness advocate and stuff.
But
which is great.
I've always thought that they're in a better place is beyond just being an empty platitude. Is you don't know, you don't know. Oh, so you're now
the expert on
you get to judge.
Yeah.
Where people are going, heaven or hell.
Me and St. Peter are really close, so I happen to know with pretty good authority where he's going, and it's a better place.
Oh, yeah. Sadly, he's in a worse place now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I thought that was very interesting, and he's just said he wanted to throw out there that grief counseling is one potentially secular way of dealing with loss. I can't believe we missed that.
Yeah.
So yes, grief counseling is amazing. If you're grieving, go get some counseling. Believe me, unless you have a shitty counselor, it can be amazing. So yes, thank you, Brandon, for calling us out on that.
Yeah. All right, so now we have a couple voicemails.
Mm-hmm.
This one, well, let's just play it.
Please do.
Hey, Frank and Dan, it's Mitch from Chicago. I recently saw a video clip on YouTube where they were talking about the right wing's reaction to the revelation that the Boston bombers were Muslim, or at least one of them was more devout than his brother. But regardless, they moved on to connecting it to another issue that was along the lines of how the religious right kept moving from a different group to persecute throughout periods of history. So I thought of an interesting question that I wanted to pose to you guys. In the inevitable event that we do have a gay rights bill, what group do you guys think that the conservative religious right will move on to trying to keep under next? Love the podcast. Thanks, guys.
Stevedores. Well, I beg your pardon.
Longshoremen.
I would love, yeah.
That's the next group.
Mark Driscoll's going to be railing about the longshoremen soon.
No,
thanks, Mitch. By the way.
Thanks, Mitch. That's actually a fun question. I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know, who's it going to be.
Okay,
find someone.
So clearly the gays have won. So the gays are out for them, but they need an enemy.
They need an enemy.
I think it's true that the setup, the entire setup of the religious right is who are we against, so that we can rail.
Maybe it's going to be atheists.
Yeah, we're a pretty easy target, and we're growing in numbers.
Our profiles, raising and all that.
Yeah. Could be us.
Could be us.
I mean, that is the natural one, I guess.
Yeah. But they can't deny us rights.
No.
I mean, they can't, like...
No, but they can certainly make it an us against them sort of thing.
Sure. I mean, it makes for a good narrative.
It does.
Else.
Yeah.
But it's God against godlessness. I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, you could have some fun with that if you were a religious conservative.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tricky at this point. I mean, do you just go back to sort of your standard fornicators and abortion purveyors? Abortionists are already pretty strong on there.
Yeah.
I mean, Islam's still out there.
Islam, yeah.
Which we'll be talking about shortly. Anyway, I don't know. It's a valid question. We should be looking out.
They might be fine. I mean, this has always been a thought of mine, and I know that it's the LGBT movement and everything, but
right.
I've always worried about the T part.
Oh, right? The trannies?
Yeah, because, let's face it, the gays and lesbians are really, we've done a good job, right? Of getting ourselves out there and getting ourselves in front of the public and getting, good positive feelings going for us and all of that. I don't know that the transsexual part of the community is there yet.
Right.
And so they might rail a little bit against transsexuals.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Like truly trying to separate the gays and lesbians out of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Of the LGBT, which of course, if the L and the G are doing what we're supposed to do, we'll keep some solidarity going.
Right. Yeah.
And we'll continue to fight for the transsexual.
It's an interesting point.
Although it's definitely one that people
have
a problem with. I think that people in the gay community don't understand transsexualism.
Right. Well, because nobody who isn't transsexual has any experience that they can relate to transsexuality.
Right.
Like you being gay, I understand being attracted to another person.
Right.
And I get that.
Right.
So the fact that you're attracted to a different kind of person than me doesn't mean I can't get it.
Right.
Because I get being sexually attracted to people.
Right.
Someone not identifying with their birth sex.
Yeah.
That's something I don't have there's no part of me that I can connect that to.
Yeah.
So I just have to I have to intellectualize my empathy in order to get to that place.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a trickier animal.
Yeah.
Whether that's something, whether the
can they form a good argument against it? Can they really?
Because
is
where's
it something
the sin?
That's going to get people really riled up?
Yeah. Where's the big sin there?
What's in the Bible?
Yeah, exactly.
That they can thump.
Yeah, exactly. The Bible doesn't talk about it at all.
Yeah.
Shakespeare made a reference about God has given you one face and you make yourselves another. I wonder if that's from a Bible reference.
I don't know. Anyways, we have another voicemail.
Oh, yeah. Let's listen to that.
Hi, my name is Des. I'm really anxious that you said I had to be short, specific, and to the point. So I'll try. I am not particularly a believer, nor am I particularly an atheist. I was raised a Baptist, and 14-year-old Des would definitely think I was going to hell. And where I stand, I'm a post-theist, and so most Christians think that I'm, hellbound, and most atheists sort of look at me as rather soft because I still have a deep affinity for religion. And I find a lot of space in the Thank God I'm Atheist podcast to have both. I think that I'm a living example that atheism and faith are not mutually exclusive, because semantically, as a post-theist or a non-theist, I am an atheist, but I think that most people really have a hard time understanding that gray space. So thank you for being an ethical atheist podcast that I can sort of have under my belt when I want maybe information or like a viewpoint on religion without someone expecting me to believe it or think it's right or adhere to a new set of beliefs. So yeah, good job. Thank you. And keep up. Bye.
Cool. Thanks, Des.
Yeah, that's nice. The thing is, the problem is when atheists start to get dogmatic, they've already run into an issue.
Yeah.
You've got a problem there, you dogmatic atheist, you. I mean, so, gosh, as far as I'm concerned, we're not about what you believe.
Mm-mm.
That's not our deal.
Mm-mm.
Our deal is about, like, let's all make sure that everyone is treated well and fairly.
Sure.
And, religion has problems, and we're gonna talk about those problems. But come on, anyone who doesn't see that there is also good that comes from religion is lying to themselves. Frank's processing this.
Well, I think that you have to say that carefully. I think that you have to. You just can't throw that out there. But I think because of all the discussions that we've had on this topic, I think you can say that, and it makes sense. That's all I was trying to process was,
can we say that?
Can we say just a nice little blanket? There are good things that come from religion, right. And
no, are those good? Are those things that you can't get without religion? No, of course you can get all of the good that comes from religion can be gained from non-religious things
absolutely.
As well.
But what we need to acknowledge is that religion has had all this time to figure out how to help people, how to help people feel like they belong to a community, how to help them in times of need and sorrow.
Right.
And like there are built-in mechanisms now that just seem so automatic that religion does.
Right.
And these human needs that are filled, that when you reject religion outright, you find that those things can be missing from your life.
Right.
And there is an emptiness and there is a hole. But if you can acknowledge that there are mechanisms, social mechanisms within religion that are very good.
Yeah.
Then ta-da!
Yeah.
You'll be good. I don't know if I said anything there. I didn't feel like I said much. But anyways, we got to get moving along. The show's running a little long.
Oh, not that like we have
no, but
a network that's going to cut us off.
We have stuff to do today.
That's true. Well, there is that.
My lawn isn't going to mow itself. Let me put it that way. And it's going to be, because it's the first one of the season, I'm going to have to empty that bag a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So I've got a day of mowing. So
I declare this a national day of mowing.
God, I wish. I wish I felt like I was part of a community of mowers. All I feel instead is the judgment of the old woman we live next to.
Well, and you should feel that judgment keenly. Keenly feel the knife of the knives coming out of her eyes.
All right. So our segment, let's just get to it and try to get through it relatively quickly. Let's just give a little bit of backstory of like sort of how this came about. I don't even remember how I stumbled upon this guy's blog. Juan Cole is the name of the blogger, and he had this whole thing that he was defending Islam against these claims that often do get made against Islam, that it is a violent religion. Right. That actually, if we look at what the fruits of that religion are, we see a lot of violence, especially in the West, and we feel sort of attacked by Islam, and
especially when they attack us.
Especially when they do attack us. and so he's trying to dispel that, but he did it in this way that kind of pissed me off, because he was basically saying that no, he was holding it up and saying, look how good it is. Islam.
Yeah.
Right. And then he was comparing it to Christianity, and he was doing this whole thing about how the world wars were Christian religious wars, which
he's like, compare, didn't he gave numbers. He was talking about
giving numbers.
It was like the Muslim extremists have only killed blah, blah, blah number of people, but look at how many the Christians have killed.
Did.
And he uses World War I and World War II figures.
And it's like,
that's not fair.
That's totally not fair. And so it kind of led us to this discussion of like, well, what is important for us to take away from these kind of discussions? And that's what we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about, the question is it fair to lay the violence that comes, like 9/11, Boston recently, is it fair to lay these outwardly acknowledged, religiously motivated atrocities at the feet of the larger religion of Islam?
Right.
And where's the line there?
Right. Because it's tough, right? Because like I've known Muslims, and they were good people.
Sure.
Right.
Most human beings are. So you can't just say, oh, well, it's Islam and therefore. Right.
Right.
The meme that went around after Boston that I saw, I don't know if you saw this on Facebook, but the meme that went around was something about, would it surprise you to learn that Muslims view these extreme actions, or the people who committed these bombings, as in the same way that Christians view Timothy McVeigh? Or that Muslims view them in the same way that Christians view Hitler.
Right.
Yeah. Meaning, stating most Muslims are opposed to this kind of action.
Right.
Most Muslims see it as horrific as the rest of us see it as.
Right.
That's what they're getting at.
Right.
So the question,
and I think that if you just look at it as a community and people and all of that, you're absolutely right. Right. And because there is a part of me that does, like, I don't think here's where the problem comes for me, is that even you and I feel like we're doing this little thing where we're almost we're letting Christianity off almost entirely. But we're so willing and capable of blaming Islam.
Sure.
And feeling like we're doing this great job of being like, well, but most Muslims, right? They're good people.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think we should let either of them off the hook.
Islam or Christianity. Well, I mean, I think
even now Islam does have mechanisms in place and a very strong fundamentalist movement that is like that's using these scripture, these pieces of the Quran to justify their actions.
Right. And there are plenty.
The
Quran is just chock full of.
But my larger point is that fundamentalism exists in Islam and it exists in Christianity, and it has pushed people in both traditions to violence.
Absolutely. And you can justify violence from any of their books.
Absolutely.
Any of their books.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that the Quran, I haven't read the Quran, but I've read a lot of passages from the Quran. And it's
basically my relationship to the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah, mine too. I've never read I started to read it all the way through a number of times, and just you get bogged down, and then it's just like, what the fuck? I don't need to know any of this stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. We've never claimed to be academics on these subjects.
No, please.
But
there should be an asterisk always.
Yeah, exactly.
At the bottom of the
Sam
page.
Harris is an academic.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And so when we decided we were going to talk about this, I went back to his book, The End of Faith, which has a really long chapter called The Problem with Islam.
Right.
That made it almost impossible for me to get through the book because he was so careful in making his arguments that he got so like academic about it that it was kind of a snooze fest, that particular chapter of his book. But it was interesting too. One of the things that he said on talking about the Quran, he said on almost every page, the Quran instructs observant Muslims to despise non-believers. On almost every page, it prepares the grounds for religious conflict. Anyone who can read passages like those quoted above, and he had like 3 pages of passages.
Wow.
Anyone who can read passages like those quoted above and not see the link between the Muslim faith and Muslim violence should probably consult a neurologist. That was a little snarky, but yeah. I mean, so the passages are like, for instance, quote, slay them wherever you find them. Drive them out of the places from which they drove you. Idolatry is worse than carnage. If they attack you, put them to the sword. Thus shall the unbelievers be rewarded. But if they desist, God is forgiving and merciful. Fight against them until idolatry is no more, and God's religion reigns supreme. But if they desist, fight none except the evildoers. And then another passage. Fighting is obligatory for you, much as you dislike it. But you may hate a thing, although it is good for you, and love a thing, although it is bad for you. God knows, but you do not. But you know not. Fighting is obligatory.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's, and like I said, he in his own book, in Sam Harris's book, prints three full pages at least, probably 4, of just Quranic verses,
right,
pointing out that they are inciting believers to violence.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, you can point to all of the Quranic verses that say that God is about loving each other and God is about caring for each other, but when there is a mandate to put non-believers to death, and that is a sternly worded mandate that comes up multiple times, I don't know. I mean, what are you going to believe? It's part of their faith.
Right. Aren't there violent verses in the Bible?
Yes.
And are there not even violent laws in the Bible?
Absolutely. Here's the problem, though, or here's one thing that the Bible has on the Quran. And I'm not defending, believe me, there's been atrocity after atrocity carried out in the name of the Bible. But the Bible does sort of end the main message that you're meant to take from the Bible is Jesus's message, in which he goes through and does kind of dismantle a lot of the Old Testament violence. He goes through and he says, if someone strikes you on the cheek, turn the other cheek.
Right.
He was into nonviolence.
Right.
And he's their main dude.
Right.
The main dude of the Quran is Muhammad, peace be upon him, and he's not into nonviolence. He's very much into violence.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? I mean, but the other thing is that I think the Christian culture, the culture of Christianity, is ahead of the culture of the Islamic world. The culture of Islam is about 500 years, is several hundred years behind. Right. And I mean, if you look at Christian history, they were where Islam is now. There was the time when they were there. The Crusades are all are the same thing. Right. It's an insecurity. Harris did mention an interesting thing about he was quoting some other scholar who said who basically his take on the Middle East is that you've got people who are obsessed with their own correctness, the correctness of their culture, and their impotence, their international impotence, the weakness of their lack of political and military strength. Right. They're obsessed with those two things. Right. That's a bad combination.
Yeah, that is.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
It makes for...
Well, I mean, here's the thing about Christianity is that the world, most of the world that embraces Christianity, and this isn't the whole part of the world that embraces Christianity, but if we look at, United States, the fact that, it came out of Europe and is still very present in Europe, even though Europe has been blessed with an atheist movement that's a little bit further along than ours. Yeah. But if you look around the world at places that Christianity is sort of the religion, they're wealthy places.
Oh, interesting. You're going to that.
Or they're at least
the poverty thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's hard to radicalize a member of the middle class.
Okay, I have 2 responses to that.
Okay.
The first is that I watched the Vice, the HBO Vice show last night about in which part of it is they go into Afghanistan, and
Okay.
he interviewed, and they talk a lot about child suicide bombers.
Okay.
The Taliban's using kids, teenagers, children to go in and blow stuff up.
Sure.
Because they're harder to detect. They can walk around sort of with impunity and all this stuff. And so he's talking about that, and yeah, these kids are mainly from very, very poor families. They're completely illiterate, so they basically have to believe what they're told about what the Quran says, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, they're a little easier to dupe.
Right.
However, all of the leaders of Hamas are educated.
Sure.
Osama bin Laden, from a wealthy family and educated.
I'm not.
All of the hijackers in the 9/11 incident, educated,
Right.
middle
Okay.
class.
I'm not saying that, and I probably should have said the middle classes of wealthy nations,
Because that does make a difference.
because
doesn't
that does make a difference, right? Because if you feel or powerful nations, powerful places, right? Because like if you feel impotent, it doesn't. If you're in a place that truly is, right?
militarily,
Militarily, you've been put upon. I mean, Afghanistan, for crying out loud. I mean, it doesn't matter what class you belong to.
Yeah.
You've been through shit.
Yeah.
Right.
There's not an Afghan alive that hasn't had their whole life be about other countries invading them and trying to go into war with them.
Right. And so, I mean, obviously, I said something that was a little simplistic, but at the same time, I think that
It's still a part of it.
it's still a part
Absolutely.
of the issue.
Absolutely. Which is why the first thing that I said was to agree with you that, yeah, there are all these, undereducated people that are going along with this, and
Right.
and they are easier to radicalize.
Right.
Or maybe they're not easier, but it's a different different pathway. When you radicalize the more educated people, a lot of these people have master's degrees.
But what atrocities have they seen? What emotional
Right.
impacts has living in a place that is war torn
Right.
had on them?
And there's still pretty easy arguments to make that will appeal to
Right.
an educated
Right.
Islamist.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's an intractable problem. I mean, we're
Obviously, if the Quran is calling for violence, right?
yeah.
Then
Violence it shall have.
right.
Yeah. It's if
But
Harris made an interesting. He said, he thinks that if it proved to be as economically advantageous to be Islamic as it is to be of a more liberal and by that I mean like sort of politically / economically liberal bent. We would see the very rapid Islamification of the world, just because
it would make sense
right now they don't have that kind of power, and they can't because economically we win right now. He gave some figure that I could look it up, but
so he thinks that the cultures that it created, that the religions created, were destined to be more wealthy. Is that what he's saying?
No, that's not what he's saying at all. Sorry, I may not have. I may not have been clear about that. What he was saying was just that it's fortunate that that the Muslim faith doesn't lead to prosperity,
free markets and whatnot.
because if it did, it would take over.
Because of its. Okay, I get it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they're so aggressive.
Yeah,
and because they would then have the benefit of wealth.
Right.
Well, I mean, let's not say that. Let's not forget Saudi Arabia.
No.
But that was geography.
Yeah, and fossil fuels will only get you so far. He pointed this out. This is interesting. He said that in the year 2002, the GDP in all Arab countries combined did not equal that of Spain.
Holy wow!
Even more troubling, he says, Spain translates as many books into Spanish each year as the entire Arab world has translated into Arabic since the 9th century.
So incredibly insular with like
Right.
Right.
This is the other problem is that when you can have a state that's controlled by a religion, they stop the influx of ideas. There's no marketplace of ideas.
Right.
It is all our ideas.
Right. What's amazing though is they started off so well.
Yeah.
They started off so well. I mean, they saved Western civilization. They saved
Exactly.
all of the Greek writings. All like it was their libraries in North Africa that housed all of the Western works.
And they had a strong
And so as
intellectual
Europe-
tradition.
As Europe was falling into the Dark Ages,
Yeah.
there was these Islamic kingdoms or whatever,
Right.
whatever it was, and that's who saved it.
And they had strong intellectual traditions.
Yeah.
They had academia. They invented algebra.
Yeah,
They were out there doing it. And
Yeah.
then they flipped the script a little bit.
they invented numbers. They didn't invent numbers, but we use their numbers.
We use their numbers because the way they
Because
did
it works.
it was better.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh well.
Arabic numerals.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you tried to do math with Roman numerals?
Gee
Forget
whiz.
about it.
There had to be a way.
I'm sure there is. Why would you bother? Anyway,
Okie dokie.
we have not solved
haven't solved the
any
problem.
world problems here.
No,
But
no.
it's an interesting discussion. Would love to hear your take, listeners, on this
Yes,
discussion.
please.
Ways that you can enter into it, involve.
You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Right? You can
like us.
You can like us there. If you like us in life, like us on the Facebooks.
Yeah, hello.
Go ahead.
We're rapidly approaching 500 likes.
Yeah, we need more.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
I don't know.
You can also email us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com. We don't have a contact us button on the website yet. We're working on that.
It's a work in progress, people.
Yeah, it's not as easy as all that. We're not computer dudes.
No, we're not. The voicemail that the number where you can leave us a voicemail is 424-666-8442. It's a great way to join the conversation.
Or to let us know about your town
Yeah.
for our trip.
It might be the easiest way.
Just-
Beyond the email, but
Just let us know. We need to know
Yeah.
what we're getting ourselves
give us
into.
a call.
We want to meet you,
Yeah, leave us a voicemail.
All
We'll
you-
get in touch with you.
all you Southerners.
Yeah. And then, of course, we like to always give a little shout out to the Red Rock Hot Club and thank them for letting us use their music. It's very, very helpful. And we have a new thank you
Yes.
that we're going to be doing for a while. And we'd like to thank Sarah, the intern.
We've got an intern.
We have an intern.
Oh, we needed it so bad. Hopefully now we'll be a little less scattered
Yeah.
in our show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks, Sarah.
So, all right. Well, thanks for listening, and
Have a great week.
bye-bye.